Welcome to Pulse of Awareness, where wisdom transforms lives. Today, we explore a challenge that defines our era: how to increase your focus when everything around you conspires to scatter your attention. In the next minutes, you'll discover ancient insights and practical strategies that will fundamentally change how you work, think, and live. Stay with us until the end, because the final insight might be the key that unlocks your true potential. Let's begin this transformative journey together. First, the nature of distraction in the modern world. Our ancestors lived with seasons and silence, with rhythms that honored the natural pace of human attention and thought. Today, we dwell in a manufactured urgency where algorithms compete for microseconds of our awareness and corporations profit from our fragmentation. The average person checks their phone over 100 times daily, each interruption fragmenting consciousness like stones thrown into still water. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we are disturbed not by things, but by our views of them. Wisdom equally applicable to notifications and news feeds. Distraction is not merely external noise, but reflects our internal restlessness, the mind's desperate flight from present moment discomfort and uncertainty. Buddhist teachers observed this millennia ago, naming it the monkey mind that swings ceaselessly from branch to branch, seeking satisfaction it never finds. Modern neuroscience confirms ancient wisdom. Every task switch costs us time and cognitive energy, leaving us exhausted yet feeling strangely unproductive. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and the brain pays a metabolic price for each transition between different types of thinking. The technology in your pocket is engineered by some of the world's smartest people, specifically to be addictive and irresistible. Variable rewards, infinite scrolling, and social validation create dopamine loops that hijack the same neural pathways evolved for survival and social connection. Yet to blame technology alone is to miss the deeper truth. These tools merely amplify and exploit tendencies that existed long before smartphones. Seneca complained about the busyness of Roman life, how people rushed everywhere accomplishing nothing, distracted by the very abundance surrounding them. Understanding this historical context liberates us from thinking our struggle is unprecedented or that previous generations possessed superhuman discipline we lack. The forms change, but the fundamental challenge remains: how to maintain sovereignty over attention when forces both internal and external conspire against it. Recognition itself is power, for you cannot transform what you do not first clearly perceive and honestly acknowledge. The moment you see distraction, not as personal failure, but as predictable pattern, is the moment you can begin designing conscious alternatives. This awareness forms the foundation upon which all other strategies must build, the bedrock without which techniques become mere shallow tricks. Let us carry this understanding forward as we explore how to construct the inner fortress that every focused mind requires. Second, building the fortress of mental discipline. Mental discipline resembles physical strength. It must be built gradually through consistent practice, not summoned instantly through momentary willpower alone. The Stoics understood this deeply, which is why they practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining difficulties before they arose to build psychological resilience. Your attention is like a muscle that grows stronger with deliberate training or atrophies from neglect and constant distraction. Begin with small commitments. 5 minutes of undivided focus on a single task, building gradually as your capacity naturally expands over time. William James, the father of American psychology, observed that the faculty of voluntarily bringing back wandering attention is the very root of judgment. Every time you notice your mind has wandered and gently return it to your chosen focus, you are literally rewiring your neural pathways. The ancient practice of meditation is essentially focused attention training, teaching the mind to rest on a single object without judgment or resistance. You need not adopt any particular belief system to benefit from this practice, only the willingness to sit with your own mind's restlessness. Successful people throughout history shared a common trait: they protected certain hours of their day as sacred time for deep, uninterrupted work. Einstein had his morning walks, Darwin his afternoon garden time, Maya Angelou her rented hotel room where she wrote from dawn until afternoon. The key is not working more hours, but protecting specific periods where your mind can achieve the flow state that produces your best work. Research shows that it takes approximately 23 minutes to regain deep focus after an interruption, making protection of continuous time essential. Start by identifying your biological prime time, those hours when your mental energy naturally peaks and your thinking feels most clear. For many, this is morning, but honor your own rhythms rather than forcing yourself into productivity templates designed for different nervous systems. During these protected hours, treat focus as a non-negotiable appointment with yourself, as important as any meeting with another person. Turn off all notifications, close unnecessary applications, and if possible, work in a space where interruption is unlikely or explicitly prohibited. Building discipline means accepting that discomfort is not a problem to be solved, but a sensation to be observed and allowed. The urge to check your phone, to research something tangentially related, to take a break is simply a feeling passing through consciousness. With practice, you learn to notice these impulses without automatically obeying them, creating space between stimulus and response where freedom lives. This is the fortress of mental discipline. Not the absence of distraction, but the power to choose your response to its inevitable appearance. Third, designing your environment for deep focus. Your environment is not neutral. It either supports focused work or subtly sabotages it through accumulated friction and constant temptation. Confucius taught that the superior person adapts the environment to their purposes rather than allowing circumstances to dictate their state of being. Begin by conducting an honest audit of your physical workspace, noticing what draws your attention away from your intended focus. Remove visible distractions, not through superhuman willpower, but through simple environmental design that makes focused work the path of least resistance. Steve Jobs wore the same clothes daily, not from lack of creativity, but to eliminate trivial decisions that consumed mental energy. Every decision you make depletes your limited willpower, which is why successful people automate and ritualize aspects of their environment and routine. Consider the lighting in your workspace, as natural light profoundly affects alertness and circadian rhythms that govern your mental clarity throughout the day. Position your desk near windows if possible, or invest in lighting that mimics natural daylight to support your brain's optimal functioning. The temperature of your environment matters more than most realize, with research suggesting slightly cool rooms promote alertness while excessive warmth induces drowsiness. Similarly, some background noise can enhance creativity while complete silence or loud environments both impair different types of cognitive performance. Create clear physical boundaries between different types of activities, training your brain to associate specific locations with specific mental states. Work always in the same place when possible, never in bed or relaxation areas, so your environment itself cues the appropriate cognitive mode. Digital environment matters as much as physical space, yet we often neglect its design despite spending hours within its invisible architecture. Use website blockers during focus periods, not as punishment, but as compassionate support for your intention against the pull of habit and curiosity. Organize your digital workspace so that opening your computer presents you with your priorities rather than the chaos of scattered windows and applications. Close all unnecessary browser tabs, turn off auto-start applications, and create a clean digital environment that invites focus rather than fragments attention. Consider a separate user profile or device for focused work, where entertainment applications are simply not available regardless of your momentary willpower. The most sustainable solutions are those that make the desired behavior automatic rather than requiring constant conscious choice and self-discipline. Your phone is probably your greatest environmental challenge, a device designed to be addictive located within arm's reach throughout your day. During focus periods, place it in another room, in a drawer, anywhere that creates physical friction between impulse and action. The goal is not puritanical rejection of technology, but conscious design of your relationship with tools that serve your purposes rather than their creators' purposes. Environment design is an act of self-compassion, acknowledging that willpower is limited and that intelligent systems are more sustainable than constant struggle. Fourth, daily rituals and habits of focused minds. Rituals are not superstition, but psychologically powerful signals that tell your brain it is time to transition into a particular state of consciousness. Athletes have pre-game rituals, surgeons have pre-operation protocols, and you need your own ceremonies that mark the beginning of focused work. Begin each focus session with the same sequence of actions, perhaps making tea, opening specific music, arranging your desk in a particular way. These small acts may seem insignificant, but they create neural associations that over time automatically shift your brain into the desired mode. Morning pages, as advocated by Julia Cameron, involve writing 3 pages of stream of consciousness text immediately upon waking each day. This practice clears mental clutter, processing the night's thoughts and worries, so that when you begin actual work, your mind is clean and clear. The practice of time blocking, scheduling specific activities in specific windows, removes the constant decision of what to work on next. When you know exactly what task occupies each period of your day, you eliminate decision fatigue and the procrastination that disguises itself as planning. Build rest into your rituals as deliberately as you schedule work, understanding that the fallow period is when integration and insight naturally emerge. A Pomodoro technique, working in focused 25-minute intervals with short breaks, honors the natural rhythm of human attention and prevents mental exhaustion. Regular exercise is not separate from cognitive performance, but foundational to it, as physical movement increases blood flow to the brain and neurogenesis. Even a brief walk between work sessions can reset your attention, provide fresh perspective, and restore the mental energy that focused work depletes. Sleep is perhaps the most underrated productivity tool, as chronic sleep deprivation impairs judgment, creativity, and attention as severely as intoxication. Protect your sleep with the same ruthlessness you protect your focused work time, maintaining consistent sleep and wake times even on weekends. Many highly productive people practice some form of daily review, examining what worked well and what needs adjustment without harsh self-judgment. This reflection transforms experience into wisdom, ensuring that each day contributes to your growing mastery rather than merely passing an unconscious routine. The habit of reading deeply, not skimming or scrolling, but sustained engagement with a single text, strengthens the very neural pathways that distraction weakens. Set aside time for reading books, not articles or social media, training your mind in the sustained attention that most valuable work requires. Evening rituals are as important as morning ones, creating a transition that allows your nervous system to downshift from productive activation to restorative rest. This might include journaling, gentle stretching, or simply sitting quietly, marking the boundary between work and the essential recovery that makes tomorrow's focus possible. Remember that rituals and habits are not about perfection, but about creating supportive structures that make focused living more natural than scattered distraction. Be patient with yourself as you build these practices, knowing that consistency matters more than intensity, and that small daily actions compound into transformative results. Fifth, the path of mindful awareness. Ultimately, focus is not about forcing attention, but about cultivating a quality of awareness that naturally rests in present moment experience. The Zen masters teach that trying to concentrate is itself a form of distraction, as true focus arises from relaxed yet alert presence. Mindfulness is often misunderstood as emptying the mind when it actually means becoming aware of whatever is arising without getting lost in it. You learn to notice thoughts as thoughts, sensations as sensations, urges as urges, creating space between experience and your reactive response to it. This practice transforms your relationship with distraction itself, as you learn to observe the impulse to check your phone without automatically obeying it. Each moment of choosing awareness over automation strengthens the neural pathways of conscious choice and weakens the grooves of habitual reactivity. The breath serves as an anchor because it is always available, always occurring in the present moment, bridging the conscious and unconscious mind. Simply noticing your breathing, not controlling or forcing it, brings you back to now where focus naturally resides and future anxiety cannot follow. Eckhart Tolle teaches that presence is the only point where life actually happens. Yet we spend most of our existence lost in mental time travel. Planning and memory have their place, but when you are always elsewhere in your mind, you miss the rich immediacy of your actual existence. This awareness reveals something surprising. Many things we think require focus actually benefit from relaxed attention that allows intuitive insight to arise. Creativity flows most freely, not through forced concentration, but through a state of open receptivity that welcomes unexpected connections and novel perspectives. The philosopher Simone Weil that attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity, whether directed toward another person or your own work. When you truly attend to something, you honor it with the full gift of your consciousness, and this quality of attention transforms both the observer and observed. Practice noticing when you are truly present versus when your body is here, but your mind is spinning in patterns of worry or fantasy. This recognition itself is a form of coming home, a return to the only moment where your agency and aliveness actually exist. As your mindfulness practice deepens, you discover that focus is not separate from the rest of your life, but flows from overall integration and wholeness. A scattered life produces a scattered mind, while a life of clarity and purposeful simplicity naturally supports sustained attention and deep engagement. The path of mindful awareness leads ultimately to a profound question. What truly deserves the precious and limited gift of your attention? Not everything that demands your focus deserves it, and learning discernment about where you place your awareness is perhaps the highest form of wisdom. In the end, the ability to focus is inseparable from knowing what matters to you, what you are willing to sacrifice distraction to serve. When your attention aligns with your deepest values and purposes, focus ceases to be a struggle and becomes the natural expression of who you are. You now possess ancient wisdom and modern strategies for mastering focus in our distracted age. Remember that building this capacity is a practice, not a destination, requiring patience and self-compassion as you develop new patterns. We invite you to like this video, share your own focus strategies in the comments, and subscribe to Pulse of Awareness for more transformative wisdom. Your journey toward a more focused, intentional life begins with the very next moment you choose awareness over automation.